Hi guys, hope you're all good. Today in Java tutorial we're going to look at a program that swaps two numbers from one variable to another without using a third variable or a temp variable. So without wasting much of your time, let's get started. Having created the project that I'm going to work with and also having included the class that I'm going to work with, I'm going to start writing the code. So as you can see, this is the class that I created and it is called swapping. Here we have the project that is called number swapping. And inside the class that I created, I also added the main method. So inside the main method, that's where I'm going to start writing the code. So I'm going to need two variables of int type. So I'm going to say int x is equals to 5. Then the other variable will be called int y is equals to 4. Down here I'm going to print out these numbers in these variables, so I'm going to use the system.out.print statement to print these numbers. But before I print out these numbers, I'm going to print a statement to say these are numbers before swapping. So I'm going to say system.out.println. Here I'm going to say numbers before swapping. Okay, down here I'm going to print out these numbers in the variables. So to do so, I'm going to use system.out.printf to print out the numbers. So I'm going to say system.out.printf, and inside here I'm going to say x is equals to %d, and I need to print out these numbers on a separate line each. So I'm going to include some line break here and say y is equals to %d as well, and I'm going to say x comma y. Then I'm going to close this statement. What I've done here, I've just printed the numbers x and y. Down here, after printing the numbers before swapping, I'm going to print some dashes to separate the swapped numbers and the numbers before swapping. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say system.out.println, and inside here I'm going to say the dashes just to separate the swapped numbers and the numbers before swapping. I'm going to close this statement. Then down here, this is where I'm going to perform the swapping of the numbers that are in the variables without involving the third or the temp variable. So to do so, I'm going to use addition and subtraction. What I'm going to do, I'm going to say x is equals to x plus y. By this statement, I'm saying in the variable x, I'm storing x plus y, meaning I'm adding the number which is in the variable x and also the number in the variable y, and I'm storing it in the variable x. So at this point, x becomes 9. Then down here, I'm going to say y is equals to x minus y. This is to say, in x, since we said now at this point x is 9, I'm subtracting 9 minus the number which is in the variable y and store it in y, which is to say at this point y becomes 5. Down here, finally, in x, I'm going to say x minus y again. Since by here we said y is equals to 5, so in x we are going to say finally x minus y, that is to say 9 minus the value of y which we stored in y here, which is 5. By doing this, I've performed the swapping without using the third variable or the temp variable. Down here, finally, to print the swapped numbers, I'm just going to copy these two statements here and paste them here. I'm just going to change here to say these are numbers after swapping. So we have the numbers before swapping and numbers after swapping. Here, this is where we perform the swapping. This is it. We're done writing the code that swaps the numbers without using the third variable or the temp variable. Now we can run the program and see our output. We see if what the output will get is what we desire. So what I'm going to do before I run the program, I'm just going to put some line breaks here, 2 of them, and also one here. Nothing special, but just formatting the output so that it will be able to look nice when it is outputted. So what I'm going to do after this, I'm going to click the run button so that we see our output. Click save here. Okay, our output is here, so I'm just going to move this up a bit. As you can see, we have output here. So we have numbers before swapping, and we have x is equals to 5, y is equals to 4, and this is how the variables were declared and initialized, if you can see from here. Then down here we have x is equals to 4 and y is equals to 5. This is to say the program has been able to swap these numbers in terms of variables without using the third or temp variable. This is what we were looking for, and this is what we wanted. So we're done writing the program that swaps two numbers, or which swaps numbers from one variable to another. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't also forget to share with your friends, comment, and also ring the notification bell so that you get notified each time I post some video on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, bye bye.